Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. This is Naaman with the Great Millstone Camp here in Washington, D.C. Hold on, let me check my volume. All right, I'm back for another video. First and foremost, call Halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rekah Kodash, and of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who deserve double honors and root well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and byways week in and week out, and who also upload many works in the form of videos that go out over the various social media sites and that are there for the edification mainly of the hopeful elect of our people. But they're there, you know, if you want to be educated and not just treat them as entertainment, because I guarantee you this is how it's going to work. All right, and prophecy dictates this. There's scriptures on this. Mainly Amos 8 and 11 and 12. When we are shut down, we're no longer on the streets. You know, the internet is shut down. You're going to start to have questions. So the thing is, why not take advantage of it now? While we're there for you to ask questions. While these videos are there for you to get edified. All right, that's what we're here for. That's what we're commanded to do. All right. Ezekiel chapters 2 and 3 tells you this. All right, so we're going to do it regardless, whether you choose to listen or not. All right, because we're not after everybody, all right, to wake up. It's only going to be a select few, hence the elect, or that remnant. That's what we're there for. You other people, someone has played a part of the 2/3. Oh, well. All right. So, what we have here is the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. A non-profit, educational, personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay. Once again, fair use, fair use, fair use. I don't own the rights to any of this. I'm just using this as a teaching tool. That's what's stated above. All right. So here we go. This is just going to be a short video on JFK and his administration, the last few months of it anyway. His feud with the then Prime Minister of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, during the spring and early summer of '63, and the things which he was trying to do, namely this: he was trying to get America out of Vietnam. All right, and it says, Conspiracy Bible says they told you, all right, it was just a routine transfer of power. They told you the Vietnam policy was consistent. They told you the war was a tragic necessity. But what if a secret order to withdraw from Vietnam, signed by JFK just 2 days before his death, was reversed days later by the new president, who you should know, well, we'll get to that later. A decision that cost 58,000 American lives and prolonged the war by over a decade. Here's what they don't tell you. JFK signed National Security Action Memorandum 263 on October 11th, 1963. A little over a month before you know what happened. The order approved a plan to withdraw 1,000 U.S. military personnel from Vietnam by the end of '63, with the ultimate goal of complete withdrawal by 1965. The policy was announced publicly just days before his assassination. The reversal came days after Kennedy's death. On November 26, 1963, President Lyndon Baines Johnson signed NSAM 273. While it appeared to affirm the withdrawal objectives, it effectively reversed JFK's policy and laid the groundwork for the massive escalation that would follow. Some historians argue this was a decisive shift that allowed the war to expand. Again, remember, all wars are bankers' wars, so this came from the top, the elites, the banking elites to be specific. Make that money. They don't give a fuck about you. See, the thing about Americans, especially during this time, these proud pieces of shit. All right. And that's another thing why they hated King, because it was after this. Remember, he won a Nobel Prize in '64. So at this stage, he probably was at the peak of his approval for another maybe year or so. And then it started going down. But the thing is, he was against this, especially when it came to Jake, because he knew that the bulk of the recruitment was going to be Jake. All right. That's, common sense. So that's another reason why he was hated. But, we don't revere MLK over here because you find out some things. And then later on, when I guess they thought he was going to bite the hand that fed him, they had taken him out. All right. It says the reversal came. All right. I already read that. It says the lesson is clear. They don't want you to question the official narrative of the Vietnam War. They want you to believe the escalation was inevitable, because now some of the Akim in my camp, the DC camp here years ago, they met a buddy of mine. All right, he was, what am I, let's see here. Hold on. So here it is, like I was saying, older brothers in the camp, especially the elders. A buddy of mine used to work down one of the museums, I reference him as Big Boy, all right? But his stepfather, while I'm bringing this up, was a Green Beret and during Vietnam. And I used to ask him about that, because I knew from history that, the Gulf of Tonkin, and I heard the suspicions about it. And I asked him one day, I said, do you believe that was bullshit about it? Because you all were called in. In fact, he enlisted right after that. All right, so he just gave me this strange look. And I was like, oh, shit. So, yeah, even they knew it was bullshit back then. But here it is right here. A search assistant, and it gives you the rundown, what I just explained to you. The overview, withdrawal of troops, military performance improvement, because it appears here that they were going for another setup like Korea, where you had North and South Korea, and you have a demilitarized zone between them, something like that. It said context and impact. In September '63, South Vietnam faced a political crisis leading to disagreements among U.S. policymakers about the best course of action. The situation, because they beat the French's ass like 9 years prior to this. All right, in '54, the French troops went in there and and they got their asses handed to them. It says the situation prompted Kennedy to consider troop withdrawal as part of a broader strategy to stabilize the region. Controversy and historical debate, it says NSAM 263 has been a focal point for historians and analysts debating Kennedy's intentions regarding Vietnam. Some argue it indicates a planned withdrawal, while others contend it was part of a broader strategy to pressure the South Vietnamese government into improving its military capabilities. Now, after this, the president of South Vietnam was assassinated. Let's see if I can pull that up. I think his name was Diem, something like that. Let's see. I don't want to lose this. So, President. How was his name spelled? Diem. South Vietnam. Yeah. This is him. Yep. His assassination was in 63. Okay, let's see when exactly. All right, that's him. Arrest and assassination. All right. On November 2nd. Remember, this order was signed, all right, October 11th. On November 2nd, 63, the president of South Vietnam was arrested and assassinated in a CIA-backed coup d'etat led by General Minh. After years of autocratic and nepotistic family rule in the country, discontent with the Diem regime had been simmering below the surface and culminated with mass Buddhist protest against religious discrimination after the, I'm not going to even try it, after the shootings of protesters who defied a ban on the flying of the Buddhist flag. Now, you should know I mentioned the French just a moment ago, who started all this shit back in the late 1885, I think was the exact year, where they pitted two brothers against each other as for rulership, and one brother was on the run from the other. And this, coincidentally, is who later would grow up to be Ho Chi Minh, was really pissed about, and that started his journey. I can't remember, I got a book in there, which again highlights the fact that all this shit was planned out, because after World War II, I believe it was in the fall of 1945, after everything with Japan and the dropping of the atomic bombs. It might not even been that long. Merchant Marines were complaining because they were shipping gear and everything right then and there, right after, to Indochina. Or at the time it was called Cochin China. All right, so yeah, you've got people complaining like, what the fuck are we doing here? So all these things were, again, come from the top. They're the ones that destabilize these countries in order for them to make money off of these people suffering and death. All right, I'm gonna put this in the description box. I'm not gonna go through all of it. Like I said, we can try to keep this short. But people are tired of the so-called white man, this beast system. All right. Oh man, yeah. This was their own, guy, but he wouldn't play ball, so they got rid of him, like they've done so many times before, and especially since then. All right. So let's go back. Oops. This is what we tell you when we read scriptures like Micah 2. All right, the covetousness of this devil. Woe to the oppressors. Said, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. How many atrocities. And we've been dealing with this for a little over 5 centuries now, since the voyage of Columbus. On this side of the world I'm talking about, as it affects. And they covet fields. What does covet mean? Strong's H2530. Kamad. To delight in. This scripture's telling me this man is, because, in fact, I'll get that scripture, one of them. It says, delectable thing, desire, lust. All right, they have a lust for blood. So let's get that real quick. Let's go. This is just in general, but especially when it comes to his brother Jacob. Let's see, is that 25? All right. Prophecy against Seer. All right. Look at this. All right. Let's see. It's not the one I was looking for, although that is a good one. Let's see. There it is. All right. Psalms 5 and 6. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. Leasing is lies. Let's just get that. Strong's H3577. Kazab. Falsehood. Literally untruth. All right. Deceitful. False. Lie. Lying. All right. That's what they do. Constantly. Like the saying goes, how do you know the white man is lying? Because his lips are moving. This is just who they are. That's the other part of their blessing. Not only the sword, but to deceive. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. The Most High Yahweh will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. This is who we've been dealing with. This is what. Why would you expect any kind of actual, real help from the person that put you in the predicament in the first place? Yeah, and that's it. I mean, Jake just, oh, we're going to get reparations. No, the real reparations is Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. See, you're still in his system, so anything he tries to half-ass give you, it's not going to amount to anything, because it's shit made up. Literally, this money is printed out of, well, not out of thin air, but it might as well be, because it's not backed on by anything. Been off the gold standard since 71. This month, as a matter of fact. Wait a minute. Saturday was the day. Saturday made it 55 years. Yeah. So, yeah. That's really all I had, just as a quick one of these like factoid type of things, you know. This is what they do. All right? And they're so good at what they call spin. It's just lying. That's why it's leasing. Like they're continually doing now. With your president here made himself look like the coward that he is. With what happened in Turkey, where he snuck on another airplane and left his staff, including high-ranking individuals in the government, because somehow they tried to make you want to believe, and guess who was behind this, that his life was in danger. That's why we believe that Caroline Leavitt, his press secretary, she resigned. She said, you know what? You know, that's a straight up coward. But this is the person that you racist ass motherfucking Americans you voted for. I guess this is a reflection of your morals and your character also. Yeah. So that's going to be it. I just want to, you know, JFK. Everybody's still talking about it even more and more, because it looks more and more like, you know, the small hats took him out. All right. So with that, like I said, it was going to be short. I hope whoever views this has been edified. That's what we do here at Great Millstone. You know, and this is one of the most beloved presidents in American history. So they say. But in any case, please continue to be circumspect out here. All right. It's only going to get worse now with the fuel crisis. Really going to start to affect everything, especially your diesel. All right. So with that, hey, keep your eyes and ears open out there. All right. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.